Hey guys, welcome to Gray, the podcast for those of us who are navigating this complicated world of military life alongside our partners. If you're looking for real conversations, genuine insights, and a community of seasoned mil spouses dedicated to supporting each other through every challenge, especially those WTF moments, and maybe even find a silver lining along the way, here we are. We're going to get real about the highs and lows of military life, share stories, and have candid conversations as we laugh our way through it all. This isn't just a podcast. It's a sanctuary where we can all find connection, strength, and the courage to be ourselves, no matter where the journey takes us. Grab your headphones and settle into our corner of the internet where you're not alone. Let's gather at Gray.
Hello, Gray fam. We're coming to you this Friday of the first full week of January, which you won't listen to it on this Friday, but that's where we are. I'm coming to you with a crick in my neck for zero reasons. None reasons. I woke up, a child asked me a question, I swiveled left, and I figured out that hurt. So we'll work on that for
Good
Saturday.
morning. Yeah, no, that did not happen to me this morning. I did have for a few days this back thing where my not my low back hurt, my mid back where I was I just need to the back wheels. I was like, I just need to roll over that and get this. Anyway, it was a whole problem. The funny part of it was I always have tension in my shoulders and whatnot. And so my oldest child is home, came to me and said, Mom, you know how you talk about the knot in your back? I'm like, yeah, because my oldest child has freakishly strong hands. And so I'll be like, will you just squeeze? Like, I have a knot and I know you can just squeeze it out. They were like, I had one. And now I know what you mean. Thank you, child.
Adulting.
Welcome to adulthood, where your back just hurts and there's just a knot. And you're like, where is that and why?
Welcome to the period of your life where 2 days before that, I breathed in heavily and pulled a muscle.
God bless. God bless.
And I mean, full disclosure, I'm a very active person. I work out all the time. It's like a mental health thing for me. So it was also very infuriating that I'm like, I mean, I feel like I do what I'm supposed to do, and I'm still breathing in and pulling a muscle.
Well, that's just being a person of a certain age. I won't,
Yes.
out you, but that's where we are, my friend. We are at that age where
Acceptance. For those of you who tuned into our last episode, which I think we very warmly called Season Screamings, about our many viewpoints of the holiday season, and really warmly, happily, and empoweringly, which I don't think that's a word, but we're using it, also looking into 2025. I used a term that made Tanya's left eye twitch in saying, have you set your personal KPIs yet? And she hated that. So I want to use it again just because. Um, but really, we're looking at this Friday, January 10th, at setting intentions. And I believe the phrase we said for the year was confident patience, which I believe Tanya will more than likely be more of an embodiment of that than I will. But I'm going to follow her lead as she will continuously remind me to lean into that.
I mean, I'm going to try to lean into that. Now, the question is, will I be leaning into confident patience because I am in a season of life where there's just so much going on that I'm resigned to being patient because I can't do everything at once, or because I am genuinely leaning into confident patience. I don't know, maybe a little bit of both. And maybe it's okay to be a little bit of both, right?
Maybe
Sometimes,
we'll do a quarterly check-in in 2025 on that phrase.
yeah, I like that idea. I like that. Kind of counting it down and seeing how things are going. And on the front of personal KPIs, while I will not be calling them KPIs, because for those of us who are like, what is a KPI? Key performance indicator. You guys, Courtney's brain is so very business minded, and mine is so very in the clouds, what's pretty. that I will be calling it visions and manifestations for the new year.
Manifestations. I love that.
I got a new pin actually that says, you guys aren't going to be able to see this because you are not looking at my camera, but I'll show it to Courtney.
Manifest
Manifest
that
that shit.
shit. I
Yep.
love it.
This is where we are. We are going to just, my little witchiness is going to be like tapping in, and we're going to just be believing in all of the good that is coming our way. So I'm excited for it.
That's great. We would love to hear from y'all. We've had some great conversations with people in our network and our friends around refocusing, what that means for you in 2025. Whether I like to think of it in very small wins. I always think if you're looking at the small wins and you're accomplishing the small wins, you can look back in 6 months and you've grown so much more than you thought you would simply because you were focusing on the little wins in front of you instead of maybe that big
Mm-hmm.
grandiose goal of who knows what it is, changing careers, losing 40 pounds. I don't know what it is, but those little tiny goals. And I say this because, story time. I have some health issues. I always have for decades of my life. And so I've always been super conscious of what I put in my body. However, to be honest, the last quarter of 2024, I was less conscious of that. And so I refocused myself for January, not for like any kind of cleanse or anything like that, because I don't love those. Just to refocus on what I should be doing. And I am on day 6 because I had a ton of travel over the holidays. I'm on day 6 and I woke up this morning and felt like there was an elephant on my back and my face was puffy and I looked much older than I am and all of these things. And I just had this moment where I was like, why is it so hard? That's all.
But I think it's one of those moments where we have to have confident patience and trust
Yes.
the process. That sometimes before we get to that win and that big success, that like it's gonna hurt, right? I started a new workout plan. Not that like I have not been working out, but like I've been a little bit like a ADHD squirrel, which is basically what I am anyway. Running around being like, oh, I'll do a little of this, I'll do a little of that, I'll do a little. And I found a new program that's just like takes the thought out of it, right? Already programmed, it's in my headphones telling me what to do. And I did it the other day and I was done and I felt so good. And then the next day and the day after, I was like, oh, I feel that. That toilet was so far down there because
So
my legs
far.
were like, ma'am. So, like, you know,
Laughing in complete solidarity.
right?
Complete
And
and
I know
whole solidarity.
January and I picked up those weights again. And when I picked them
Ew.
up, my behind was like, oh, girl, ow. So like just leaning into that and figuring it out and trusting that this too will pass and my strength will come back and will bounce back up. And in the meantime, if you see me, don't laugh about me walking funny. Not to
Or
my face, at
join
least,
me,
please.
one or the other.
Right.
Oh my.
Um, Hold on, I'm gonna mute because my dogs are gonna bark.
Ooh, doorbell. Got it. Last episode, my dog scared me quite literally out of the frame. So par for the course. But we would what we're really wanting to do intention wise in 2025 is create more discussion, create more back and forth, listen more, amplify more. What do you want to add to that? Wait, Tanya's dogs aren't done barking yet. So hold on one second.
There we go. I had to
Okay.
wait for the mail to actually enter the building before they would like, really chill out.
You did a great job.
Listen more. What were the options?
Listen
And
more, engage more, create more of a conversation.
yeah, so I think one of my personal intentions, which relates to Gray as well, is to connect more. I have realized, so let me back up for a second. You guys, the new year has brought a lot of new things into my world, including stepping out of a full-time role, working in the nonprofit space here in the military and veteran nonprofit space, so that I can kind of refocus on family and you guys and all of the things that kind of like really light me up and bring me passion, right? Finding that harmony. And so as I have transitioned, one of the things that I realized that is lacking in my life right now is that genuine connection, that face to face connection, right? I have, like so many of us, been so set on chasing goals and professional aspirations and things like that, that connection is missing. And so that's part of why we even started Gray, right? Was to have that space to connect while you're in those in betweens, while you're in those transitional spaces. Um, but I want to have so much more of that here in 2025. And I want to do it in a way where, yes, we're connecting through the podcast. Yes, we're connecting through social media. But like, I know we have some listeners that are here in Hampton Roads near me. I also want to see you guys in person. So, having coffees, having those moments of just really coming together. I'm so excited about that.
That's fantastic. I love that. And I do want to, you had talked about vision boards in December and leaning into vision boards. Now I'm getting ready to do massive renovations on my house. So all of my vision boards have to do with textiles
I like
and
it.
furniture and new cabinets and those types of things. But I love the thought of the personal vision board. And I don't know, it's theoretical for me because I have not created one. You can see there isn't one hanging around me. I'm not the one with a bulletin board that I put things on. And I love the people who have them. I'm always, if they allow me, intrusively perusing them to see how they are envisioning things. But I also think there are long-term ones and short-term ones, right? Those
Mm-hmm.
long-term goals of where you want to be in 5 years and 10 years. For me, with having middle to younger children, what does it look like when they finally graduate and they do or do not go to college? Those types of things. But I think it's beneficial regardless of how you do it, to do it, right? If you're a vision board person, I'm just going to keep using this phrase because I want to see how many times I can make her react to it. If you need personal KPIs, if you
Oh.
need whatever that may be, I know there are people who need a full ass day-to-day plan for these things.
There
That
are.
I need the flexibility of not having that, but a lot of people need the inflexibility
Mm-hmm.
of being able to look at that and reminding themselves every day. I do have a win in that I have been diligently logging my food,
Nice.
which is also it goes into that same category of like very specified, very
Mm-hmm.
things that you have to like pay attention to everything and you have to think about it and log it. Well, I've done that for 6 days. That's really eye-opening and a win for me, uncharacteristic win for me and something that I normally would not do, but
Yeah, I am a vision board person. I actually don't have one hanging in my office here. When we moved into this house, my office moved into a place where I don't have a door and like I have a window instead of more wall space. And so I don't have one here, but I do have a board that I use for it. And I think my favorite thing about having that physical or even digital vision board space is whenever you look over and you're like, I did that. I did that. And my vision board is
yes,
always kind of a mix of
I
things that
like that.
right. It's like a little, okay, accomplishment. Mine's always a combination of things that I'm striving towards or things that I want to bring into my world. But also throughout the year, I add to it the things that I have done that maybe were unexpected. Um, so like my first year of really kind of doing it, um, I had some partners that I was pursuing and wanting to connect with, but I also added like speaking opportunities and things that I had. So I'd take my little name tags from my conferences and be like, "Look at that girl! Look at that what you did."
That's great.
Um, it's always really cool. I think I know I'd mentioned back in December doing a vision board party. Life is lifing over here really hard as it does. Welcome to January, but that invitation still stands. So if you guys are listening, shoot us a day of the week that would work best for you to like hop online for like an hour. You can reach us at Gather at Gray on Instagram. Shoot us an Instagram message, right? I would love to have like a Zoom thing. We can hop on Canva. We can do it digitally, which is probably what I'll do this year, is do a digital vision board and set it like as my background on my computer. That way, whenever I'm working throughout the day, just that constant reminder and that constant incentive to keep working towards the things that I want.
One of the things that I was looking at yesterday and understanding that this is the first year in 14 years that it has not applied to me. But all of you who are waiting on promotion boards and assignments and PCS orders, and January is when all of those thoughts and priorities have to be talked through. You're waiting on them. I also want to acknowledge that, because I've had many moments throughout the last many years where I have felt that I didn't have a space
Mm-hmm.
to set my goals and set my intentions, because I was holding my breath and waiting on what the next transition was or what the next job was going to be for my service member. And so I want to acknowledge that too, if you're in that space. I have absolutely been there. I'm there in a different way this year. We're not moving. We're having a different type of transition time, and probably will not be moving anytime soon. And so that's a new reality for me to sit in. It's not a reality that I've actually sat in before as a married military spouse. So feel that too. But I also encourage you not to get stuck. That is
Mm-hmm.
something I reflected on for many years, that I would get frustrated with myself, not with others, but with myself, that I would get stuck in saying, well, next year I'll, well,
Mm-hmm.
in 2 years I'll, well, in 5 years I'll, right? When my kids are X age, when I'm here professionally. And it's something that did become a bit of a regret along the way. And Tanya and I both want to empower you to continue to set those moments of success, regardless of the circumstance you're in, and regardless of where you are in the military transition, or if you're in the hold your breath space, or if you're in the geo batch space. All of those things are relevant and heard.
Mm-hmm.
But also, if I learned one very important point, it was that, again, you still matter, your goals still matter, your
Absolutely.
individual life still matters, and where you want to go with it, whether that's as a whole, with your family, with the military, separate from the military, whatever that looks like. I want to encourage you to also refocus and actualize some of those things this year in 2025.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that, Courtney. Um, I think it's so funny. You actually hit on one of the things. You guys just know that my ADHD is at an all-time high right now. So forgive where this is going to like jump back and then forward. But you were talking about how January is the time when like you're looking at boards and promotions and like moves and all that. Can we all take a moment, because I know we're listening from all branches and all communities, to respect the fact that the Army has this very established timeline of,
Yeah.
in January we do this so that we can move you in the summer so that we can da 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 da. While the Navy's like, you'll be fine. We'll look at that in May so that you can move in October. And like, I don't really see how that's an issue. That is beautiful. Like boards will come out, around the same time frame. But like this idea of like consistency with orders and moving, and that sounds beautiful. And I love that for you
I would
all.
say consistency. People are probably going to call me out and say that's not my experience, but in reality, it all really happens within the same seasons each year. It's just that day, or like it came out the second week of March last year, and this week it came out the third week of March. Of course, all of those things are going to be variables, so don't come at me about that.
No,
But
don't, guys. Right, don't. Okay, first of all, don't.
but in
Because
talking to
remember, we are
Tanya,
salty, experienced spouses, so
yes,
we will
it
come
is a
back.
very different cadence.
It is, well, and it's funny because like boards and stuff are consistent over here, but like as far as like the moving and the things. But you're right, like in all of that inconsistency, the things that we can continue to pour into and continue to try to find consistency and establish consistency for are ourselves. Setting our goals, setting our intentions, and really making sure that we are not getting lost in the hustle and bustle of it. You guys, there's going to be a whole later episode where we kind of dive into that more, right? When we talk about what happens when the board doesn't go how you were expecting or how your spouse was expecting. And what does that look like when all of a sudden you're like, well, I don't know what's next, because I've been there.
Mm.
Right? We've all seen roads shift and things like that. And what does that look like and how do we handle that? And how do we sometimes find the gift in that? Um, so that'll be a fun episode to
Oh,
jump
I
into.
love that, Tanya, because I have had some salty moments when those type of things happen. In the end, you look back and it always ends up being fine. It ends up being fine. You meet some wonderful new people. Your kids have different experiences. You learn about a different part of the country or the world, but still
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
doesn't mean you're not allowed to be salty.
And you are, guys. The validation of the validity, whatever.
Validation. That's it.
Thank you.
You're
Oh
welcome.
my God, that word kicked my whole ass this morning, y'all. Validation.
I
Wow,
like it. I'm writing it down.
the validation of knowing that like it's okay to feel all the salty and all the sad and all of the angry and all of the what in the world. Yeah, we don't ever dismiss feelings. Feelings are valid and we lean into them, but then we also find the way to move on and to get to the next thing, because this military life does not define us and ourselves or our spouses. So
That's a big point. And I also want to acknowledge this has nothing to do with generally the episode, but I do want to acknowledge we're recording this in the midst of half of the West Coast being on fire. And that is affecting a whole lot of people, including two family members of mine. So it is personal to me as well. I have a brother-in-law and a sister-in-law who are both displaced from it. So I want to acknowledge and send warmth and peace. And it is okay to be super upset about all of this. I am not the one that says, things can pass away, because I would be absolutely devastated if I lost all of the things around me. So I want to acknowledge that, and we'll check in with that. And I also want to acknowledge that in the last episode, I said I would post some things that I mentioned in the episode, and I did not. So could y'all start keeping me accountable about that stuff when you're listening and I say we'll post these and we don't? Because we're both neurodivergent people in ways, and it isn't intentional. And sometimes we just need to be centered by other people
we
to
are
remind.
never offended by gentle reminders. We're not even offended by not so gentle reminders. Let's be real. Like,
True.
remind us, because it's not because we don't love you. It's because we forgot, or there was a shiny object, or a kid needed something, or
Or a dog.
whatever, or a dog barked. There's a lot of them. Okay, so we're setting personal KPIs, building vision boards. Um, I am not subscribing to New Year, New Me. It's New Year, same me, because like I'm fabulous. I don't need to change who I am. I just need to like have a little bit of growth and like grow into this a little bit more. I hope you guys are all also recognizing your existing beauty and amazingness and not trying to redefine selves, but rather enhance selves.
Agree.
Yeah. I also want to acknowledge, I know some of you guys are already following us over on Instagram. And so you saw it last night that like this sis being me, Tanya, was in a moment yesterday. I was in a whole day yesterday, guys. I'm not even going to call it a moment, where life was coming and just asking a lot of me. Life is always asking a lot of us, but it was all at once, right? And I want to reiterate the message, the like true intent and message of that message, which is, guys, life is still happening, right? We've got the fires happening out in LA, unfortunately. We've got half the country getting buried in snow.
Hmm.
I know some of our friends in Kansas are on day 5 of snow days, meaning there was no
Yes.
school this week. Yay. Um, Friends up in Northern Virginia are going back to school for the first time today. Like, there's just a lot going on, right? And I know that we are all very capable and strong individuals who can do all the things. But also, I want to remind us that we are always so quick, especially as military spouses, to extend help and assistance to everybody else, right? We're like, girl, I got you. guy, I got you. What you need? You need dinner? You need this? You need that? Like, we extend that so quickly. Make sure that in this new year, as we are enhancing ourselves, that one of the things that we're allowing ourselves to do is to be helped.
Mm.
It is not weak. It is not selfish. It is, in fact, an act of love to allow someone to help us. You know that feeling you get when you reach out to your friend and you send that, I don't know, maybe this is just me. You send that thing of Pringles to them right when they need it because they can't go anywhere. I may have Instacarted one of my friends some Pringles one time, guys, and it made her whole day. That feeling that you get, allow someone else to have that feeling as they help you, as they step in to support you. It is an act of love that goes both ways. Um, and our people want to love on us and support us. So um, that was the message from the reel last night. I want to reiterate it here on the podcast because I think it's really important um, that we understand that being independent does not mean being alone and doing it all by ourselves.
Huge. So
Yeah.
big.
I know. We kind of hit everything, you guys. This one's been a little bit
Woo!
heavier than I wanted.
Unload.
I know. Like, honestly, you guys, after the last episode, I was like, oh, the next episode's going to be so much fun. We're going to be like, Happy New Year! But Murphy's Law, or as my friend called it, she's like, it's not even Murphy's Law. It's just T. Murphy Law. She's like, because the stuff that happens to you is unreal. You guys, I had my fourth flat tire in the last 5 weeks.
She
Yesterday.
swears it's not her driving. I have questions.
Do you know what it was? I picked my car up today and there was a bolt in my tire. My tires have turned into magnets. I don't know what's going on. I don't live in a construction zone, you guys. So I've had 2 that had screws. This one had a bolt. And then
Do
there
you
was
think the man who stole, I don't know that it was a man, I'm saying man. Do you think the man who stole your ballot came back and put a whole bunch of ish all over your tire?
I sprinkled that ish all in my driveway. It was like, ma'am, just run this over. Like, it's insane. And
I didn't get your ballot, but I'll get your tire.
Here's the best part, you guys. Like, because they were like, well, is there a lot of construction, like, where you live? And I was like, you guys, I literally picked the car up from getting a new tire from that screw that was in the back tire. And then on my way home, the front tire went flat. So, like, no, this isn't even happening at home. Well, they know me now at the Volkswagen Service Center. So that's cool.
Hey,
like,
Tanya.
we're buddies. They're like, girl, you're back. Good thing you have that road hazard plan. I'm like, the road hazard.
Places you don't want to be known.
Listen, Courtney, this is not the first time.
The auto service center. Places I do not want to be known.
They always know me at the auto service
The
center.
ER, which I'm usually known at because I have 3 boys.
Yeah.
And the auto service center. I don't want to be known there.
It's fine. It turns out though, they get you in very quickly. Like they hook you up with some good deals. But yeah, anyway, so there's your laugh. There's T. Murphy's Law that is like rocking hard over here. Taking out my tires, turning them into magnets. It's gonna
Happy
turn.
2025, a week and a half in.
By the time they hear this, we're gonna be a solid 2 weeks into 2025.
Weeks in. Let's just say 2 weeks in.
Yeah. Let's just go ahead and claim it because we're not gonna get this.
My last unpopular opinion moment here. I'm about to get some hate for this, but y'all, 6 months into using an Apple Watch, I got super angry at it and I went back to Fitbit.
Wait, why?
I don't know. Something about the way they give me the data, my brain does not compute. And I need the data.
Really?
So I'm back to Fitbit.
Okay.
If anyone needs an Apple Watch, I have one. And I also have another Fitbit.
So I love my Apple Watch. Don't take it in the hot tub. Don't ask me how I know that, but just don't do it. Okay, guys, it's not going to end up well. You're going to end up buying a new Apple Watch and your spouse is going to be like, yeah, okay, work. So like, don't do that. But I got a new phone and I figured out that with my new phone, my Apple Watch, whenever I do the thing where you click, guys, I'm old and I forget stuff. I told you guys already. When I click the thing to make my phone go, do, 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 so I know where it is.
I did love that. That saved my life many times.
With my new phone, it's like Marco Polo. It tells me how many feet away from me my phone is and like the direction.
I mean, I still have both of them, so I'm going to trial and error.
Just saying, like that feature alone might have me never not having an Apple Watch again.
Like that.
It's so good.
Okay. We're rambling. Um,
It's okay.
we
They
will,
love our rambles.
we will talk to you all soon. I will post the things from last episode. And again, happy 2025.
Happy 2025, guys.
That's a wrap on this week's episode. Thanks for joining us. And we look forward to continuing to provide a space to get real about both the challenges and the beautiful moments of living this military life. We hope you find support and, of course, some laughs. Remember to follow us on the socials and don't be afraid to join the conversation. Until next time, this is Gray.